Welcome to Rauta's review time. Today's band comes from Finland and it's called Druadan Forest. This one actually started already in 1990s, late 1990s, I might add, but kind of quit its career for about 15 years. They came back a couple of years ago, more like 1 year ago, and now it's time for the second full-length album called The Lost Dimension. So what I'm showing you here is the digipack release, kind of a twofold one by Wolfspell Records, which is for some reason kind of specialized in Finnish black metal bands. Druadan Forest is kind of filling that niche, but then again, not the way you might actually imagine. I'm gonna I'm gonna show you here the full album and all the layers of art here, because this one is actually really nice looking digipack release with nice artwork and all. Lots of green colors, lots of kind of a fantasy themed imagery here, which kind of comes to no surprise. This is more or less summoning inspired band. So here is the main man behind the band, V Chaos. Here are the lyrics nicely laid out for you. Nice font, colors, just basically really beautiful booklet with all the info. As you can see, here's J.R. Tolkien mention, which more or less inspired this kind of band, as well as many other bands in the black metal scene. You can just pretty much name all them, like Gorgoroth, Burzum, Azaghal. You know how many bands there are, just, going with these kind of Tolkien related names. And this is actually one of them. But meanwhile, most of these bands are more or less metal focused and more or less black metal kind of inspired clearly. Druadan Forest is surely inspired by black metal bands, but also lots of, I guess, music that is mostly heard in movies, maybe even games. That is epic, kind of a bombastic music in the sense of, soundtrack stuff. But this is mostly done with synths, not orchestral, as, real symphonic orchestra, but really symphonic stuff and really kind of a big, huge, epic landscapes, if you catch my drift when talking about music. Surely there are guitars as well. Some parts are actually, sung, but vocals are, and basically even the strings instruments are so much left on the background, which I guess serves the purpose here, since this one is mostly built on the conventions and ideas and even cliches maybe of this kind of instrumental soundtrackish music. But there are some clear elements taken from black metal stuff, and they are kind of nicely baked in together. So whilst you can clearly hear these ideas of summoning, it is way more metallic and kind of a raw version of this, so to speak, because this one is more of the beauty of it all, kind of aesthetics and just, having these kind of a nice, even dreamy landscapes filled with colors and flowers and trees and birds singing and all that stuff. But it's not like it's overly sweet. It's more like it's detailed synth music with just, tiny bit of metallic shading in a way. So this one is something that I would not describe black metal at first, even though epic kind of sums it up, but more this kind of soundtrackish music with just hints of metal here and there. And like I said, it works like charm, and it doesn't sound cheap like many of those synth bands sounded in the early or mid 90s, you know, with even though having maybe good synthesizers and keyboards and whatnot, it still kind of had this kind of a plastic feeling. And this one does not. And given the fact that this is a one-man band basically, and it's operated in the bedroom black metal sense in a way, and I'm not saying this in a negative way here, just a neutral statement. This is very well executed. So it's kind of a beautiful, but it's also not very kind of original in the sense. Surely it reminds a lot of soundtracks, and that's not a bad thing. Me also being kind of a fan of this kind of soundtrack music besides metal, but maybe a little bit of something bolder moves could have been made. This is of course a matter of opinion and up for debate. And however, even though this kind of has these minor flaws, if we can call them flaws in the first place, this album is just, you know, well laid out for any, you know, people who are in this kind of blend of metal and orchestral music. So if you consider yourself a fan of Summoning or other black metal bands using a lot of synths and orchestral stuff, Druadan Forest is definitely for you. The Lost Dimension is good album, even if it's not among the greatest of this year. But like I've said in the previous reviews, this year has been so great that it's hard to compete with the top albums. Nevertheless, should you consider yourself being a fan of this kind of genre, check out this one. It's beautifully packaged, it's nice digipack, and definitely worth your money if you are into this kind of music at all. Thank you for watching this video and hope to hear your comments should you have listened to this album. That's all from me. More stuff to come later on. Thanks for watching. Bye.